My name is Jasmina Beljan Iskrin. I come from Serbia. I have worked in tourism for 25 years. I have a license for tour guide, however, I currently work in tourism organization of Sremski Karlovci. Sremski Karlovci are situated on the left bank of the river Danube. They are a small but very important town for the Serbian culture, education and spirituality. In the center of the town are situated monumental historical buildings. Also, Sremski Karlovci are a famous vineyard town. They are a part of European cultural route, the Roman Empire's and Danube wine route. Together with our local guides and stakeholders, we create different kinds of tourism packages and stories. I am here to give you some information about storytelling. So let's start. Through the presentation, I will give you answers to the questions asked. The first question is, what is the storytelling? Is it just the story you want to tell? Or is it the story you visitors want to hear? Telling stories is a part of human nature. Even years ago, people gathered around the fire to hear and tell instructive stories that inspired, motivated, educated, or convey an important message. Quality stories were passed down from generation to generation, even when a way to write them down hadn't been discovered. Good storytellers have always been popular in society, and today, those who know how to tell a story in the right way are successful presenters, leaders, marketers, and sellers. Storytelling is a powerful tool of interpretation. The father of interpretation is often said to be Freeman Tilden. He was one of the first people to set out the principles and theories of interpretation in his book, Interpreting Our Heritage. What is the Tilden's top tips? Tilden's top tips were that interpretation should provoke someone to think, to react, or be interested. Interpretation should relate to something people already know or understand, bring it to life, engage them emotionally. For example, can you imagine what it was like to live here? Interpretation should reveal something new or something that adds to their understanding, something they didn't know before. Interpretation is not information, but all interpretation includes information. Also, interpretation is an art. It can include lots of other things, as music, art, legends, descriptions, drama, poetry. Music can be particularly powerful. Another question is why? Why is storytelling important? There are many reasons why nowadays successful people around us use story as a powerful tool. And here are some of them. Stories lead us to thinking and taking action. Nowadays everything is a click away. We get information from the internet, we stay stuck to the screen, and we live some desktop life. The story makes us aware and triggering us to desire to participate in a story, to visit destination and enjoy its attractions. The story affects the instinctive, emotional part of the brain, which is much more impulsive and stronger than the rational part. Also, it is much easier for people to remember a story than facts and figures. Stories are remembered 22 times more than facts and data. Also, stories spark imagination and passion and create a sense of community among listeners. Now we will talk about why is storytelling important for a tourism destination. Storytelling is an art form that has a place in every culture and society. Stories are universal language that everyone understands. Stories stimulate imagination and passion. Telling a story is like painting a picture with the words. Storytelling can help you change your narrative. Also, storytelling connects micro-location, events, and other offer context and meaning for a wider destination, such as the Danube in our case, and stories that create unique Danube narrative. Also, it has an effect on the economy because new jobs are being created, tourism season is longer, and other effects. So, who is a storyteller? We will talk about two categories of storytellers. One category is a tourist guide as a storyteller, and the other is a tourist destination as storyteller. Why is storytelling important in the business for tour guide? Tour guides are mediator between heritage sites and the tourists. Of course, tour guides are not lecturers. They are interpreters of natural and cultural heritage of an area. They reveal new things to visitors, things they weren't expected. They are also ambassadors of our destination. Guides who can incorporate the storytelling technique in their interpretation are more effective in terms of creating a greater impression for the interpreted buildings. You just need to tell a good story. What should not be forgotten are some basic principles that every tour guide should stick to. I call them the travel guide codex. Whether telling a story as a storyteller or taking tourists on the classical tour of attraction, every tour guide, while presenting, need to be objective and talk with enthusiasm and optimism. Travel guides need to be up to date with all the following programs: events, concerts, manifestations, and other happenings currently occurring in the town. Tour guide has a knowledge about the country and the town, about their history, culture, politics, folklore, and traditions. Also, tour guides follows professional literature, written and electronic media. Tour guide is familiar with the working hours of all institutions which are important to them and the tourists. Does not impose their values, political, religious, and other beliefs, but has understanding and show tolerance toward others. And of course, tour guide has a positive and collegial relations with other tourist guides based on the principle of mutual respect. Another question is how to prepare a good story for the tourist, or how to plan and deliver storytelling. There are some things you should pay attention to in every story and situation in which you want to use storytelling as a tool, such as the following. Always be guided by what will be interesting to your audience, not yourself. They can often be two completely different things. Think about you're telling the story. Think about who you're telling the story, where they come from, why have they come. For example, kids are very different from seniors, but everyone likes stories. Start for the end. First define the goal of your story and only then how and what you will tell. Use your own voice well. Can you be heard? What about your own body language? Every action tells a story. The good old rule for writing essays in school can be easily used in storytelling. So create an introduction, body, and conclusion. And then tell the story, beginning, middle, and end. Think of history as a story. Start with a question, statement, or punchline. Sometimes start with the end and work up to it. For example, have you ever heard of the Roman Empire? Make sure that there is enough time to tell the story and keep it short and simple. Of course, prepare, then practice, perform, and that will be perfect. What is the storytelling top tips? Grab people's interest and attention right from the start. Use links and themes. Inform about past, present, and future, and join them together. Use voice, body language, and words to maximize effects. Of course, smile. Balance entertainment with information. Include anecdotes, fun, legends. Keep it short and simple. Use short sentences and simple words. A good story has an engaging beginning and a satisfactory ending. Both of these must also be relatively close to one another in the telling. Then practice and try out with friends and family to lead the skills to perfection. Now we will talk about creating story from the point of view of destination. The principle of creation the story of tourist destination is the same as for tourist guides or storytellers. There are slight differences. The first difference is that when creating a story, many more actors are involved. Providers of tourist services such as tourist organization, museums, galleries, guides, restaurants, wineries, and others are included. Another difference is that the story created by a tourist destination can be bigger. They can connect several small destinations, of course more attractions, and of course this doesn't mean that destinations do not create small stories as a part of their tourism products. The third difference is the approach to creating a story. Tourism destination through storytelling was to attract the target group. For tourism destination, the storytelling process includes process of setting as a topic, the story, the participant selection, the target population selection, the ownership, and funding. Then storytelling, concept design as story flow, design services, program and packaging, internal and external communication, souvenirs, and implementation guided by the question: what, how, where, when, and why. What is the main step in creating a story? The main step in creating a story is the first step. The first step to creating a destination story is to choose a topic. To do this easier, you should ask yourself these questions. What is the strength of your destination? Is it a food? A story about unique cuisine, traditional way of preparation, specific spices, a way of serving, about the holidays when that food is served. A story about a famous person who likes to consume it can always be turned into a nice story in an interesting and acceptable way. Or is it adventure? the Danube River with beautiful location along its banks, moors, canals, attractions, and activities along the Danube. Another question, what make you use your destination a good host? Or even simpler, what kind of audience do you want? Because storytelling is an excellent marketing tool to attract the audience you want by targeting a target group of tourists through story. When choosing the topic of the story, it is important to look at it from the tourist point of view. Or question, what is the tourist want today? Tourists want something unique always. Previously we talked about food, but which kind of food? Traditional food. So not food that they could try at any other destination, but something specific to your town. We talk about adventure, an interesting adventure. So adventure is not only the Danube as a river, but certain attractions and activities that are specific around the Danube. And the last question, but not the least, what next with the story? Of course, when we make a story, it needs to be packaged well. So create a good design, then do promotion as social networks, websites, and other media. Next comes the marketing campaign, and of course, sales. I prepare one example for tourism destination storytelling. As example of destination storytelling, I chose the video The Danube in Serbia, 588 impressions. The topic is clear, the Danube. Story includes all the attractions that are elements of the story of the Danube. For this video, the National Tourism Organization of Serbia received the 2017 award for the best highlight of storytelling video.
I have many different names. I have many life forms and many faces, many colors and many senses. I am fertile and abundant. I am the keeper of time. I am the source of life. I am the Danube. Join us as we journey along the Danube in Serbia, one of the last authentic river sanctuaries in the heart of the European continent. Lush landscapes of forests, marshlands, river islands. A habitat for thousands of botanical and animal species. Feel the abundance and the life that thrives. The great river attracted many nations to its shores and made up the fabric of life on the Danube. A Slovakian bride is getting ready for the most important day of her life. When you see the Hungarians spin, you will wish to join in the traditional dance of Csardas. Meanwhile, the Croatian Shoxi women are knitting away over a glass of brandy and a plateful of gossip. When you're looking for joy, music and dance, no one is better at it than the Serbs. With a pinch of salt and a warm loaf of bread, the Serbian people will welcome you to the Danube. Let's take a walk through time. It all started here 9,000 years ago in Lepenski Vir, one of the oldest urban settlements in Europe. Discover Vinča. 7,000 years ago, this ancient metropolis flourished in art, trade, and early literacy. Follow the footsteps of the ancient Roman civilization and the exciting architectural sites that testify to the importance of the Danube to the great empire. Feel the spirit of the picturesque town of Sremski Karlovci and the holy mountain of Fruška Gora, the spiritual soul of the Serbian nation. Sail through the mighty Habsburg monarchy and medieval Serbia. The great historical heritage is evident as we wonder at the majestic fortresses that line the river throughout its course through Serbia. Enjoy the many splendors of this spectacular river. With the people, the diversity, through natural beauties and historic legacy. On the fertile plains, with the wine of the old winemakers, where every drop holds all the stories the river tells. Fish and the sounds of the Danube, let's raise our glasses to the great river that connects us all. Feel the joy. Celebrate. Feel the freedom. Experience the great wilderness of the Danube. I have many different names. I have many life forms and many faces. I am the witness of ages. I am constant and yet I'm changing. I am the thread that connects us all.
Do you like it? I hope it will be helpful. Now we can talk about Danube stories. I will tell you something and then you can try to visit site Transdanube Pearls for more information about Danube story. In the Transdanube Travel Story project, new narratives were developed in order to promote the Danube macro-region as a tourist area. The basis for the development of the story was the fact that individual locations do not attract tourists, but connecting the selection location with the story that will create interest and lead to memories of the Danube. 6 stories were developed: cultural harvest along the Danube, art, music and architecture. Another story is Danube trade, the exchange of stories and goods. The Danube adventure, legend heading for the Danubius. Danubian Europe, discover of liquid space. Danube for the soul. And the last story, but not least, returning to the last Danube, nature and mankind. These beautiful stories are ready for making visual storytelling, for promotion, packaging of small stories, and their sales. And for the end, some kind of conclusion is, don't forget an important thing. Storytelling is a skill that can be improved. So start practicing today and recalling the stories that are important to you so that you can feel free to use them as a powerful tool for your or your destination success. And keep in mind one important thought. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Thank you for your attention.